Good morning everyone, welcome back to City Sowers. And today is actually a really nice cloudy morning, but it's 7:30 in the morning and it's already 85 degrees. Today is going to be 108 degrees, that's blistering. And the forecast is like maintaining that heat for a while. Actually on Tuesday, it's supposed to get up to 111 degrees. So it's getting really hot here. The garden is really showing it, it's really suffering. Here we'll come over here and you can take a look. Sunflowers are, they're just drooping because they're really, really tall. But everything is looking a little droopy and a little sad. Now, I pulled out all my, well, not all of them, but I pulled out some of the tomatoes over here. And I'm making space in there for some fall stuff gradually instead of ripping everything out all at once. I was going to put some okra in here and then decided that I just don't have enough days before I need to be transplanting in my fall stuff, so I kind of abandoned that idea. But I have these little okra transplants in this container now, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do with those, if I can find another spot or if I've got to pitch them. I planted 2 in some barrels in the patio garden, but there's 5 more at least. So, but the peppers are struggling in the hottest part of the day, and we're having some issues with our water again. So I don't know, there's one bed that is just not coming on, which means that probably that entire back strip is not coming on, but the foliage cover in the big one is kind of its saving grace right now. So I've got to have David look at that. But see, right now it's all cloudy, so it's really making the morning really nice. Even though it's 85 degrees, it's not like you're not baking in 85 degrees. So apparently those clouds have actually brought in some lightning and thunder and fire. There's some hills that are about, an hour away from where we live that, California is called the Golden State because of the golden hills, which is dry grass. So when the lightning hits that dry grass, it goes up really quick. So there's some big fires going on right now, headed out toward the Bay Area. But we actually have to have some rude. We actually had to do some work for our chickens because of this heat. Now, the other day, our high was only like 104. As the sun was going down, I noticed one of the chickens in particular was having some real signs of heat stress. They were all breathing really hard and fast, but I was particularly concerned about Jade, who is our black Australorp, and she jumped down off of the roost and kept walking all over my feet while I was checking the eggs. And I was like, she's trying to get my attention for something. And so I went inside and I actually got a spray bottle of water and just spritzed her a couple of times, and she immediately just laid down and spread out. Like, chickens will usually, at least ours, if I have to spray them with any kind of a flea spray or anything like that, they usually will like panic and flap and freak out and run away. But these guys, when I sprayed them with just that little mist of water, they were loving it. So I was like, these guys are too hot. So we've set up kind of a game plan for this heat. Good morning. Kind of rude. I'm talking here. That's Frimple Pants. That's Jade. Hi, sweet Jade. So, anyway, what our plan is during the hottest parts of the day, we're going to swish the water out of their automatic water to make sure it's cool, because chickens actually will stop drinking the water if the water gets over 90 degrees. We've tried trenching and burying this hose, but the animals keep digging it up. So because it's exposed, it gets hit by the sun, which heats up the water in the actual water. So when it gets really hot out, we'll swish that around, make sure it's got fresh, cool water in it. I'll also be bringing out cantaloupes that are chilled in the fridge. Some nice cold treats for them. Yesterday they had 1/4 of one and they all loved it. So just bringing in those cool treats will help lower their body temperature when it's really, really hot out. Goodness, that's a little Stinker. She's a Splash Andalusian. And she's very loud. She may be little, but loud. The other adjustment that I made in here was to put this fan in. Now I did this actually when they were all misted down. They all sit up here when they roost at night. So I installed this fan that's usually in the garage in my laundry setup because the garage has no climate control, so it gets pretty hot in there when I'm doing laundry. So I just installed this in here to help keep them cool with a breeze at night. And it's got the cable is just zip tied and going up through the door. So they seem to be doing much better. But today's going to be the hottest day so far. And then Tuesday's going to be the hottest day of the heat wave. So hoping that these adjustments are going to keep our chickens safe. Now, heat stress is something that is particularly worrisome for me because we actually had an incident a few years ago. Let's get out of this coop, these chickens are loud. Now heat stress with my chickens actually worries me in particular because a few years ago, before we had a chicken door so the chickens could just let themselves out in the morning, we had to come out and manually let them out, which occasionally I would get busy and forget to let them out until the afternoon or whatever. And so we had a heat wave come through and I forgot to let the chickens out and we lost half our flock in the heat wave from heat stress. And it was awful. I mean, it was me sitting on the floor crying, picking up dead chickens. And we had 2 gorgeous light Brahma hens that they were just majestic because they're a large breed. They were beautiful, but they get hit pretty hard when the heat comes in. And so I've felt awful. I still feel awful that I forgot to let them out, and which is part of what played into us having a chicken door because we don't really have predators, so I don't have to worry about locking them up per se at night, and it's easier on my mind to not have to worry about that aspect. But heat stress is still a thing, especially when we have a heat wave come through. We've lost a couple of meat chickens before to a heat wave, but that's just something else entirely. But yeah, heat is a serious thing with chickens, especially if you're getting over 100 degrees outside. It's too much for them. And so you have to watch what they're eating. You don't want to give them like food that requires more energy and therefore generates more heat. So like corn generates more heat for them to digest. So avoid giving them corn during a heat wave. My goodness, they've got a lot to say this morning. But yeah, having those nice cool treats. I've also read that you can do like frozen blocks with berries in them. Unfortunately, my freezer is out of space, or I would be doing that, but I just don't have freezer space right now. And so bringing out the cool treats, swishing out the water. We're actually also doing the cool treats for the goats because we do still have Rosie and TJ for 1 more week. They are going to be going to their new home next weekend. They still have the free run of the yard after milking, and the does go in lockup during the day. And so I bring out cool goodies for them, and we'll probably come out and change their water as well. Fortunately, our goat pen stays pretty shaded. It's under this tree. It's got the canopy. It's got the grapevines. It stays pretty shaded all day, so I'm not too worried about them being in the sun. But it is a confined area, and I just want to make sure that they stay cool and get They stay comfortable in this heat. Good morning, babies. Good morning. It's not quite time yet. I know, I've got to milk the mamas first and then you guys can come out. Yeah. Hi, handsome. Hi, babies. As you can see, Rosie is still pretty small next to her brother. But she's looking good. She's growing. Hi, baby. Yeah. Hi, Rosie. But, yeah, they're darling. But they're all ready to go. They've got their shots. Miss Rosie is all done with bottles. So now we're just waiting for pickup. Hi, babies. Yeah. Well, the sun has found a brief break in the clouds, but I gotta get to milking because it's that time of day. So we gotta get the milking done and get the babies moved out into this yard. Hey, ladies. I just put a quarter of a refrigerated cantaloupe melon out here for them. Something nice and cold for them. It'll help them cool down. You can see over here, David dumped out their water a little bit ago, so it's nice and fresh and cool. And they've been digging down and just laying in the cool, damp soil. It's a hot one. Hey everybody, so we're actually a couple days into this heat wave, but I thought that I should come out and show you guys this insane lighting. Like right now I don't have any filters on, and this is what it looks like outside right now. Because of all the fires that we've been having out in the hills, there's an insane amount of smoke in the air, and our cars actually have ash all over them. And so now everything has this just orange cast to it today. It's kind of crazy. Thought I'd just show you guys. The chickens are doing well. We've been giving them cold snacks during the day. And actually, we come out and we soak the ground, and they really like to congregate over here. They like to dig over here and lay down in the nice, cool, damp soil. And they've done great. I haven't seen any other signs of heat stress. So, they're doing good. But yeah, weird orangey glow today. Very weird. So it's the weekend now, and the heat wave has kind of semi-broken because the high for today is only 100 degrees, which is not that bad, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the smoke did help with the heat, even though the air quality is absolutely horrible. We have to generally stay inside, which is why I haven't done as much filming outside as I was hoping to do during the heat wave, to kind of show you guys how the chickens were doing during the hot part of the day. But then we had massive fires that blew in a ton of smoke, and you can't go outside and that kind of stuff. So generally, they've done really well. Now yesterday I did come out and hang up a cabbage for them, and that's all that's left. They went to town on it. But seriously, the melons and cabbages and just cool snacks did a huge amount of good for them when it was really hot out, and they're doing great. So, and actually, crazy, I did not expect at all for our egg production to maintain, because it was going to be so hot. I expected the chickens were going to be heat stressed and that they would kind of drop off of laying, but instead we still got really decent egg production. We were pulling 8 eggs a day, sometimes 10, and I was really surprised. I expected there to be very few. I think there was only one day where we only got like 4. But otherwise, they did great, and I think that a lot of that was just because we were able to keep their body temperatures low enough that they could still produce. So that's really cool. So if anybody is experiencing crazy hot heat waves or anything like that, seriously, getting that supportive care for your animals is a big deal, because I had a friend this week who actually lost 3 chickens because of the heat. It's a real thing. Just a recap of the things that we did, we provided them cool snacks during the hottest part of the day. Refrigerated melons or cucumbers work. Anything cold will work. And we made sure that their water temperature was cool. We came out and we would stick our finger in the water and make sure that it was not hot. If it's hot, they won't drink it. So we made sure that their water stayed cool. And then also what we did is we came in and turned on the sprinklers or even used the hose and just soaked the ground in their run so that they had some nice, cool, damp earth for them to dig down into and lay in during the hot part of the day. And that made a big difference. I mean, I would see all of them all clustered where the damp soil was, and they were all just digging down and laying in it, and it made a big difference for them. And one more thing that we did was the fan in the coop, which was a big help at night, because they're not really in the coop during the day, but they would go in at night while it was still 100 degrees at 9 o'clock at night, and so they had to go in there, and they were hot. So the fan helps get that air just circulating and blowing around their legs, and it really helped cool them down. Thank you so much for joining me as we kind of went through the heat wave. I really wish that I had gotten more footage for you guys, but like I said, the air quality was just so bad. Couldn't really come out with the camera. But anyway, so as always, this is your urban nerd with a goat herd and a chicken flock apparently in this video, telling you you can grow where you're planted.